Good morning, children. Hearty welcome to all of you. Come, let's learn moral science. Today, in this session, we will discuss the last part of the lesson committed to global peace. As you know, we have completed the first two parts. So now, let's move on to something to think about and discuss among our parents and relatives, our friends and classmates. Okay, so the name of our lesson is Committed to Global Peace, and the third part, it begins with the heading Something to Think About and Discuss in Class. That is what is something that is important to think about it and discuss it among our parents and relatives, friends and classmates. Okay, listen. See, let me read the portion. Society today is deeply individualistic. Everyone is concerned only about their well-being and comforts. Even education tends to be highly competitive and me-centric. Pick up the newspaper and read about what's happening around the world. The suffering of war-stricken people in Afghanistan or the genocide in Rwanda may not directly affect the quality of your life. But it is very important to be aware, conscious, and feel empathy with people in difficult situations around the world. Okay, so the first point, children. Yes, the first point is become aware of the global society. As we know, we live in a nuclear family, so naturally, everybody is thinking about their own well being, their own future, their own children, their education, and so on. We are not concerned about the society. See, society today is deeply individualistic. What do you mean by deeply individualistic? Everyone is concerned only about their well being and comforts. Okay, so even today's education tends to be highly competitive and me-centric. What do you mean by children? Me-centric. Okay, see, listen, I'll give you an example. Let us take an example of education. Education tends to be highly competitive now. Everybody, even poor parents, struggle hard to send their children to CBSE schools. For what children? For better education. So, yes, me-centric. Everybody is deeply individualistic. That is me-centric, centered to me. So, everybody is deeply individualistic, concerned about themselves. They concern about their own comforts. But what should we do, children? Yes, we should pick up the newspaper and read about what is happening around the world. The suffering of war-stricken people in Afghanistan or the genocide. What do you mean by genocide? Killing of people at a time in large number. Killing of a large number of people at a time. So, the genocide in Rwanda may not directly affect the quality of our life. But it is very important to be aware, conscious, and feel empathy with people in difficult situations around the world. But what should we do, children? We should be very important, or it is very important to be aware or to be conscious, or we should feel empathy with the people in difficult situations around the world. I hope you understood the first point. What's the first point, children? Yes, here is the first point. Become aware of the global society. So what should we do? We should pick up the newspaper and read about what is happening around the world. Then only we will understand the difficulties or the pathetic condition of war-stricken people in Afghanistan or the genocide that happened in Rwanda. Okay, so it's very important to be aware, to be conscious, to feel empathy with people in difficult situations around the world. Clear? Okay, let's move on to the second point. Raise your voice. Once you become aware of the problems and share the pain felt by your global family, you will surely feel the need to do something about it. Raise your voice and create awareness about these issues through the forums available at your disposal. Even if you are not able to do anything tangible for the suffering people across the world, The very least you can do is to remember them in prayer. Start with your school. Put up posters depicting the current problems faced by countries around the world, including your own. Divide yourself into groups. Each group can take up a country and make a chart on the acute difficulties faced by the people of their selected country. If possible, organize an event like a peace rally or prayer day in your school or class on World Peace Day, 21st September. Okay, so let's see the explanation of the second point. Raise your voice. Okay, so we should raise our voice. Listen, once you became aware of the problems or share the pain felt by your global family, you will surely feel the need to do something about it. So, the first point, what was the first point, children? Yes, become aware of the global society. So, after reading the newspaper or after realizing what is happening around the world, what should we do? So once we should aware of, or once we became aware of the problems, or once we share the pain felt by our global society, so surely we will feel the need to do something for them. So what about the second point? We should feel the need to do something for the people or the people with the difficult situations around the world. So we have to raise our voice. We have to create awareness about the issues. That is what is available at our disposal. Okay, so the second point is raise our voice. Then, if we are not able to do anything tangible, what's the meaning of tangible? Tangible means capable of doing anything touched or capable of being touched or real or actual thing. So, if we are not able to do anything real for the suffering of the people across the world, the least thing that we can do is to remember them in our prayer. Start with our school. So every day our school starts with a morning prayer. Okay, so if we are not able to do anything for the suffering people across the world, the least thing that we can do for them is to remember them in our prayers. Then the second one, we can put up posters depicting the current problems faced by the countries around the world. And at the same time, the third one, that we can divide into groups, and each group can take up a country and make a chart on the acute difficulties faced by the people of their selected country. So what's the meaning of acute? Acute means severe, the very serious difficulties faced by the people of their selected country. And the next one, if possible, we can organize an event like a peace rally or prayer day in our schools or in our class on World Peace Day. Do you know which day is commemorated as World Peace Day? On 21st September. So once again, children, I'll give you the explanation of the second point, raise your voice. So once we became aware of the problems, or once we became, or once we can feel the pain that felt by the global family, then we should feel that we should do something needful for them, or we should feel the need to do something about it. So the first point, raise your voice and create awareness about these issues. So in order to do something good for them, we should raise our voice. We should create awareness. Then, if we are not able to do anything good for them, for the suffering people across the world, the least thing that we can do is to remember them in our prayers. And the third point, we can put up posters depicting the current problems faced by the countries around the world, including our own country. And the fourth one, we can divide ourselves into different groups. Each group can take up a country and make a chart on an acute difficulty. See, the meaning of acute means severe difficulty. So we can make a chart on the severe difficulties faced by the people of their selected country. Then the last thing that we can do is to organize an event like a peace rally or prayer day in our schools and classes on World Peace Day on 21st September. Okay, so let's move on to the third point, become a bridge builder. You know what's the meaning of bridge? Okay, bridge means it's a channel. So listen, make me a channel of your peace. is a line from a famous hymn, and you must have surely heard or sung it several times. Work for peace whenever you are placed. Begin in your class. If there are students not talking to each other or fighting, try to bring them together by meditating. If you begin small, you will inculcate the courage to become a bridge builder in a wider society as you grow older. So think creatively and draw your personal peace motto in the space given. So children, as usual, there is an assignment for you. This one is also there in your assignment, but it should be drawn in your notebook, not in your textbook. Okay, so let's see the explanation first of all. Become a bridge builder. So what do you mean by a bridge builder? Listen. We want to become a channel for peace. We want to become a channel or a bridge builder for our peace. So make me a channel of our peace. So it's a famous line from a famous hymn, not a hymn, children, hymn. Hymn means a religious song which is to praise God. A religious song to praise God. So this is a famous line from a famous hymn. And you must have surely heard or sung it for several times. It's very familiar to you. Make me a channel for your peace. So it's a line from a famous hymn, and you must have surely heard or sung it for several times in your school. So work for peace whenever you are placed. Wherever you are placed, not whenever. Work for peace wherever you are placed. Begin in your class. If there are students not talking to each other or fighting, try to bring them together by meditating. What do you mean by meditation? It's a kind of prayer. Okay, so listen. We should work for peace wherever you are. We should work for peace wherever we are. Not you are. We should work for peace wherever we are. So we should begin it in your classroom. We should begin it in our classroom. So if there are students in your class not talking to each other or they are fighting every time, so what should you do? You should try to bring them together by meditating. So you should try to bring them together, or you should make them understand to talk each other or for not fighting. You should try to bring them together by meditating. So if you begin small, or if you begin these things in your classroom, you can inculcate the courage. What's the meaning of inculcate? You can teach an attitude or idea or habit. So you can inculcate the courage to bring a bridge builder in the wider society as you grow older. Children, it's an important sentence. You can underline that sentence in your textbook. So you should begin it in your classroom. What should be? Yes, work for the peace wherever we are. So work for peace wherever we are. It should begin in your class itself. If there are students in your classroom, they are not talking each other, always fighting. So what should you do? You should try to bring them together by meditating. If you begin this thing in your classroom, in your small age, you can teach an attitude of courage, or you can teach an attitude or an idea or a habit of courage to become a bridge builder in a wider society as you grow older. Okay, so by doing this, what will be your condition, children? Yes, you will become a bridge builder in the wider society or in the global society as you grow older. Then there is an assignment, children. Think creatively and draw your personal peace motto in the space given. So as I told you earlier, you have to draw it in your notebook, right? Draw neatly and send it to me. Okay, so think creatively and draw your personal peace motto in the space given. Clear? So let's move on to the concluding paragraph of this lesson. It's very important, children. Read it thoroughly. When I was a young man, I wanted to change the world. I found it was difficult to change the world, so I tried to change my nation. When I found I couldn't change the nation, I began to focus on my own. I couldn't change the nation as an older man. I tried to change my family. And suddenly I realized that if long ago I had changed myself, I could have made an impact on my family and I could have made an impact on our own. Their impact could have changed the nation, and I could indeed have changed the world itself. See, it's a very important paragraph, children. The author is unknown. We don't know who has written these words, but it's very valuable. It's a very meaningful paragraph. Okay, let me explain it to you. When I was a young man, I wanted to change the world. See, when I was a young man, I would like to change the world. But I found it was too difficult to change the world. I found it was difficult to change the world. So what did I do? So I tried to change my nation. So then also I found that it's difficult to change the nation. Then what did I do? I began to focus on my own. I began to look at my own. I couldn't change the town, and as an older man, I tried to change my family. Now I became an older man. I became an old man. So I realize now, when I became an old man, I realize the only thing that I can change is myself. Did you understand, children? So when he was young, he wanted to change the world. Then he found it difficult to change the world. Then he moved to change the nation. There also he found it was difficult to change the nation. And thirdly, what did he do? Thirdly, he focused on himself. See, I couldn't change the town, and as an older man, I tried to change my family. But when I become older, I realize the only thing that I can change is myself. Suddenly, I realized that if I long ago I had changed myself, I could have made an impact on my family. My family and I could have made an impact on our town. Then their impact would have changed the nation, and I could indeed have changed the world. So, what should we do, children? We should realize that we should change ourselves. So, first of all, I began to focus on my own. So, by person, we have to change. So, I began to focus on my own. I couldn't change the nation, and I couldn't change my family. I couldn't change the world. I couldn't change the nation. So, when I grew older, I realized that if I changed myself, I could change, or I could made an impact on my family, and my family and I together could have made an impact on our town, and their impact would have changed the nation, and then I could have indeed changed the whole world. So what's the content of this paragraph, children? Yes, we should focus on ourselves. If we change, we can change the whole world. By how? As the man told here, yes, the author, unknown author told here, I began to focus on my own. If I focused, or if I changed myself, I could have made an impact on my family. If I am a better person, I could have changed the family. If my family and I could have made an impact in our town, then that town could have changed the nation, and that nation could have changed the whole world. That is what is the content of this paragraph, children. It's very valuable, it's very useful. Keep it in your memory. Okay, so let's wind up today's lesson. It's a small portion. Read the portion thoroughly and write down the assignment. 5 to 6 questions are there, children, including that drawing. So think creatively and draw your personal peace motto in your notebook, not in the textbook, children. Okay, so read the lesson. Thank you for your cooperation. Have a nice day, children.